Hi guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. Today we're going to talk about attitudes. Attitude is everything out here. And I just got an email from Maureen, yes, you Maureen, asking about backing. And she's struggling with backing. And I think sometimes, and I'm not saying this is her case because I didn't get the chit chat with her yet, but I think sometimes we put this mental block in our head of a defeatist attitude, which is going to prevent us from doing things in the future. So we're going to talk about attitudes when we come back. I've said in a couple other videos that sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and that can be true, especially when you're trying to learn this stuff. Backing is difficult. Anybody who tells you that backing is not difficult to learn probably was driving their daddy's tractor on a farm at 5 years old and could go whoop, 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 right into a space with no problem. If you've never had driven a boat trailer or anything like that, it can be hard. And if you're trying to learn in a manual, that can be difficult too, because you're putting added stress in your head of distractions of when do I shift versus, okay, now I have to back, and you're still trying to figure out how wide do you turn. And so you have, it sometimes can be overwhelming. I'm going to ask that you take deep breaths, clear your head, and concentrate exactly on your task at hand. If you're dealing with the backing pad right now in CDL school, do not be concerned about the road test and what you need to learn. You have to sit there and think, have a hand on each, you got 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and say to yourself, which way do I need to turn the back of the trailer? And then you turn the opposite. So if I got to go right with the back of the trailer, I'm going to turn left. And sometimes, as ridiculous as this might sound, sometimes you're not even sure. Like, I've been in angle positions that I'm like, I don't know which side I gotta get the back of that trailer. And so then you look at the front of the trailer and you say, okay, which way do I need the front of the trailer to go? And you turn the same way. So if I need the front of the trailer to go the right, I turn to the right. Find things that are gonna work for you. I was just sitting in the trainer's class, and there's a whole bunch of steps to backing and reference points and stuff. And I was trying to make it methodical. Like, the first thing I had to do was ask my question of, where do I need the back of the trailer to go? And then I would turn. And when you're turning, then you're looking for a reference point, which is our landing gear. Okay? And then you turn the other way to straighten out. Now you're looking for the second reference point, which is the cone. And then, if you can see your cone okay, you go straight back to your third reference point, which is a line. So if you could get in your head, you're going to be looking for landing gear reference point, cone reference point, and then line reference point. And in between, you're going to turn. And every time you turn, you're going to ask, which way do I need the back of the trailer to go? Which way do I need the front of the trailer to go? And then I'll teach you which direction you're turning into. Now, when it comes to straight line backs, I really didn't want to make this video about backing, but that was the question that she gave me. You really don't have to turn the wheel at all. Just hold it. And flatbedders really got it easy because there's these two reflectors in the front. And as soon as you start to drift, you see the reflector, so then you turn towards the reflector. That's a tip for flatbedders. So you want to do little tiny movements. Lock your elbows down at your side when you're turning. So you're just moving like this. Don't go like this, because you're supposed to have two hands on the wheel anyway. But just little babies. You'll be able to do a straight line back, Maureen. I promise you. But you have to get the elitist attitude out of your head. You can do this. Everything in trucking is about attitude. And if you have that attitude of, I'm going to give up, I can't do this, you will give up. You won't be able to do this. If you have the attitude of, There are a million other truckers out here, and they do it every day, and they had to learn, and I can learn too. And that ditzy blonde chick with all the makeup over on Trucking Along with Kearsey, she does it, and she had problems, and you know, she knocked an axle off a trailer hurt when she was solo for a month. So if she can do it, then, you know, then I can do it too. Have that attitude. Get ahead. If it makes you feel good to be behind the wheel, you know, trying to do this and say, that witch Kearsey said I could do this. Hey, if that frustration helps you to concentrate and get it done, then do it. I don't care. I just want you to comment below and let me know. Yeah, I yelled at you my whole test. That would be kind of cool. And don't blame the trainers. Don't blame the fleet managers. You know, when you approach things with the right attitude, here's another example. My friend Rob, who's driving at Prime and he's in TNT, he got a critical event and he wasn't sure why. And he got a message asking him if everything was okay and what happened, and he wound up just saying, yeah, I guess I was going a little too fast. But the truth of the matter was, he wasn't sure. He didn't know where the critical event happened. He didn't know what he was supposed to learn. So he stewed about it for like 2 days. And I kept telling him, just contact the safety department and explain to them, I don't know what happened. I didn't get a warning. His Qualcomm didn't give him any indicator that he got the critical event. So I told him, I was like, just call up safety and say, look, I'm really trying to learn and I want to know what I did wrong. I'm not really sure. Can you explain it to me? And it's not, oh, you got a critical event, we're going to like not ever give you a truck or you're getting fired. When you call them up and you say, hey, I need to know, I want to learn, you're showing them that you want to improve. You are showing them that you are conscientious and you're concerned about safety. Okay? They're looking for patterns. And I did say this in one of my other videos about critical events, that they utilize the technology on the truck to try to improve your driving. There are training techniques. And I know some people say, well, it's micromanaging. Well, yes and no. It's micromanaging for new drivers as training techniques. Once your driving improves, you're not bothered by that stuff anymore because you're not doing the things that cause it. You're not taking a curve, a 45 mile per hour curve at 55 miles per hour. That's what would trigger it, or 52, or whatever it is. You know, as an experienced driver, you're giving yourself plenty of distance. So you're not getting those hard brake alerts that an inexperienced driver would be. You know, but again, he has a really good attitude where he wants to learn, but what did he do? Instead of listening to my advice the first time, he sat there and stewed over it, which only would cause distractions and then possibly cause an accident. And amazingly enough, after he called safety, he called me up, he's like, guess what they said? I said, they said what I said, that they don't want you distracted. He said, yeah. You know, so another issue about attitude is don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, nobody's expecting you to be perfect. Nobody's expecting you to know this. You don't have to be perfect in that box on that test, on that CDL exam. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. You're expected to make mistakes. Don't get attitude problems with the company or the dispatchers. You know, often we see what we're going through, but we have no idea what dispatch is going through and what they have to do on their end, or the people that they're dealing with. Sometimes what we think is a no-brainer on their end is not a no-brainer. And here's an example. I wanted to drop a load at this one drop yard so that I could go, you know, drop it early and go on to my next load. I was told no, I couldn't drop it at that drop yard. I dropped it at a different drop yard, but I didn't understand why I couldn't do it at the one that was closer to me. And the reason was that we didn't have anybody at that drop yard who would then go fill the reefer tanks. and that load had to sit there for more than 24 hours. So there was more of a chance for it to burn up the fuel because it was a negative 10-degree load and it was 80 degrees outside. So, you know, they didn't want to risk not having anybody there to fuel the reefer. Now, as a driver, you're not thinking about that. As a driver, it's, I want to drop this load and I want to go. But as somebody in dispatch, you have to be worried about other things. You have to be worried about what's going to happen to that load after that driver drops that load. Sometimes you just have to sit back and realize the world doesn't revolve around you. Hello. Yeah, the world doesn't revolve around me either. And I'm glad it doesn't. Yeah, it's kind of boring. I'm going to ask you to comment down below and tell me, what is one thing that's happened to you in trucking that you really think your good attitude helped you with? Did you need to conquer training and that defeatist attitude? Did you have to adjust dealing with your trainer? Because maybe your trainer wasn't an awesome person, or maybe your trainer and you had some personality differences, or just trying to deal with dispatch. What kind of challenges did you face that because of the attitude and the situation you took and the choices you made and how to handle the situation, it actually worked out for the better? So like, comment, subscribe, ring the little notification bell, and I hope to see you out here trucking along.